And we're back live again. Mike here with Jeff. The Stanley Cup Finals are finally here.
Yes, they are.
Game 1 was last night.
Yep.
Over the weekend, there was obviously got a good amount to talk about, but there's also the World Championships that just ended over the weekend and everything.
New head coach is in the league.
New head coach, and just kind of a lot to kind of break down here and there, but I guess we can obviously just start off with the biggest thing, which is the Bruins took Game 1.
They did.
One game where people were the 10 days off for the Bruins that they had, that maybe they'd be a little rusty.
And I think
it showed at the first period.
It did.
And a little
even in the second.
Yeah, the start of the second, but they quickly found their stride and just never looked back.
Yeah, and
yay, it already happened. Not even a minute into the podcast.
Woo! All right. But yeah, no. So, because overall, like during the entire first period, it was all Blues, really.
Yeah. The first 10 minutes or so was kind of even, just kind of them trying to figure out or trying to dictate. But then the Blues kind of took over a little for the rest of the period.
They did, and
beginning of the second.
It was even going into the second period in shots. It was 8-8, but our old friend Braden Shen scored the first goal in the Stanley Cup Finals, and the first goal in the Stanley Cup Finals in the for the St. Louis Blues since 1970.
And
so, yeah, it's been a long time coming for this Blues team. They desperately needed to get here, and the fact that they're here
against the Bruins.
It's just, it's ironic.
Yeah,
but
because that's the only thing they talked about was the Bobby Orr play, which I'm sure Blues fans
were loving.
Kind of like whenever they showed the Kane goal in 2010.
Yep.
So we understand your pain.
Yes, we do.
Fans.
But
except we do have 2 Stanley Cups. You have none.
Oh, man, Jeff, on them, nice. But yeah, no, 7.5 minutes in, Braden Shen just somehow gets in the slot all by himself and fires a nice shot on net, beating Tuukka Rask 1-0 Blues, assisted by Jaden Schwartz and Jay Bouwmeester. I'll tell you, Jaden Schwartz. He's been doing exceptional. So, and we'll break into this later for Conn Smythe favorites, but he's clearly a Conn Smythe favorite for the Blues if the Blues were to win. And in the second period, the guy I've been waiting for to make his presence known in the Stanley Cup Finals already, makes his presence known a minute in. Vladimir Tarasenko is 9th at the playoffs.
Still doing well.
Also assisted by Shen there. So Shen already has 2 points in within the first period and minute there.
Shortly after.
Yeah, a minute 16 after.
It just randomly changed.
The momentum changed completely.
Nothing really happened. Just the momentum changed.
Exactly.
The Bruins. They scored
a minute 16 later.
Connor Clifton scored, and then later on in the period on a power play, Charlie McAvoy got the second one, tying it up.
And kind of breaking down that Connor Clifton goal, it was because he's the defenseman.
Yeah.
And not only that, but
I just remember when you were watching, Mitch was like, I don't even know his first name.
Yeah, right.
I don't know Clifton's first name.
Yeah. It's just something Clifton scored.
Yeah.
But and no offense to him at all, but that's exactly right. I didn't even know who the heck Clifton was. And I didn't even know he's a defenseman. I was like, who is this guy?
That's the playoffs. Yeah.
Unknown heroes rise to the occasion. Right now, Connor Clifton, he drove to the net and he was battling with, I want to say it was Jay Bouwmeester. Yeah. And the puck ended up going off his leg. Yeah. And into the net. And I thought, wow, that just it's a huge momentum killer for the Blues because they got that second goal. But it's big momentum because the Bruins got the goal right back. And Bennington, he almost got that. After it deflected off, he almost got that with his paddle or his glove or something. But unfortunately cannot. But right after that, even before that, the momentum just somehow changed.
Because I was
nothing happened. It just
after
changed.
They scored, I'm like, the Bruins just put a Flyers and put their 4th line in after they got scored on.
Yeah, right.
And then they scored.
Yeah, but something important to kind of talk about, that Tarasenko goal, the second one, that would have never happened if it wasn't for that horrible pass beyond the net by the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
I want to say
that was the problem early on with the Bruins, where they were
it was
trying,
turnovers.
Yeah,
They're trying too hard.
It was that, and they just kept trying to force passes across the ice.
Right.
Even when they were on the power play, they just kept either passing it or
exactly. And they got and we'll
or just forcing passes that shouldn't
exactly.
have been made.
But either way, going into the final frame was 2-2 tie.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I'll tell you one thing: the Blues, they got the Blues throughout the whole game because they were on the penalty kill 5 times.
Yeah, that was the problem for the
That
Blues.
cannot happen.
No.
If you want to have any chance against this Boston team, you cannot allow 5 times in one game go on the penalty kill. Now, granted, they were 4-5 on the PK, which is great, but that one time, it cost them.
Yep.
And then in the third,
Sean Curley, 5:21 in to the third, and then near the end,
Marchand with the empty netter.
Yep.
It was a very close game.
Yeah.
All around, and 4-2, your typical score in a hockey game. With granted the extra goal being the empty netter, but what'd you think of Jordan Binnington?
He played good enough, I guess I could say. He had moments of shakiness, but I think might have just been nerves early on.
Oh, it has to be.
Because I just remember a couple early chances the Bruins had, and I actually remember because one snuck by him and he couldn't find him and Shen saved
and
it
someone
from
said
going
it
in.
was Shen. Yeah, that was a huge play right there.
Yeah. But then he kind of found his game a little
He
bit.
did. 34 saves on 37 shots, a .919 save percentage. Not bad at all. Tuukka Rask, on the other hand, only needing 18 saves on 20 shots. The Blues heavily outshot 37-20.
Yeah.
They gotta find a way to create more chances.
Yeah.
38-20 for the shots on goal.
Or if you're the Blues in their next game, it's not hard to, but I would try to, because Marchand's one that gets under your skin, try getting under his skin a little bit.
Exactly.
Because he does have the tendency to take bad penalties.
He's kind of like Malkin in a way.
Yeah.
Where he gets on your skin a lot.
He's a more whiny Crosby, but like Malkin.
Yeah. And when he does get underneath your skin, he really gets underneath your skin.
And
but
if the game's not going well for him, he throws a fit.
Exactly.
And then he'll take a
he
bad
does
penalty.
these little things throughout the game that really starts to annoy himself. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's one moment in the game where Binnington was, I think, reaching for the net.
Yeah, he hooked Marchand.
It looks like he hooked Marchand, but Marchand somehow grabbed a piece of the stick, and also the blocker or glove came with it. He even shoved I think Binnington out of the way at one point.
I'm just surprised the blow that played dead because you've lost this glove.
Yeah, which is kind of important.
It is, but he was just behind the net.
Right. But yeah, so it's little things like that that can kind of get underneath everyone's skin.
And, but if you can somehow get under his skin a little bit, where he can take a bad penalty, you can capitalize on that.
Yeah, because he's believe it or not, whether you like him or not, you gotta admit he's a relatively big piece of the Bruins team.
That whole line is.
Exactly. Not only that, but he leads the
if you
Bruins in points in the playoffs with 19, 8 goals and 11 assists.
If you said who's leading the for points in Boston, you'd say anyone on that top line.
Yeah.
Marchand, Bergeron, or
Pastrnak. Pastrnak is second on the team in points with 15, and Bergeron is 13. So in 18 games played, that's 47 points between that on that top line. 47.
Coming into, there was times early on in the playoffs this year that the three of them kind of disappeared. Even in this game, there was times where the Depths guys looked better than those guys did.
Absolutely.
Which I guess makes sense because they were going up against O'Reilly and Tarasenko. I think that was the line, right? Either way, they were going after Tarasenko, and they, in turn, for going after...
Yeah.
They had O'Reilly on the top guys.
Right.
Which, at that point, that's where your depth has to come.
Yes. And that's where
That's the one thing Mitch even pointed out. I was like, this is really weird, because when you're doing that, when they were announcing, I was like, both teams are starting their fourth lines.
Yeah.
which I guess they were like, this is going to be a physical start to the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is really weird. They're both starting their fourth lines.
They were, yeah, which is hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But now I want to talk about
so going forward now.
It was a very physical game.
Where do you see the series heading?
I still see, because originally I think I even said, at least on my Facebook prediction group, I said 5, I think, for Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But the way St. Louis handled themselves, I'm going to give them another shot, but I still say advantage Boston, but I'm saying pushing it to 6th game. Because I like how St. Louis handled themselves in Boston. Now, I don't like the fact that they gave up although it was 3 straight, really it was 4 straight because of the empty netter, but still, I don't like the fact that they squandered that lead.
They didn't take enough advantage of their from their time off that the Bruins had.
Right.
They didn't take. They scored twice, but they could have had more.
They could have done more, and and the fact that they only had 20 shots on net, that's not good. And they know they need to be better. They know they need to get more shots on net. Get bodies to the front.
I think 5, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep.
A sweep, okay. Yeah.
Which sucks for the Blues because then that would still mean another series of no wins in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, that's right. Great. Didn't even think about that. It's like I'm.
This is the one game where I thought
if the Blues
could pull ahead. Like I know it's hard going to Boston.
Yeah,
but
this would have been the one
5
game.
days off. They had 10 days off.
Yeah, there's a huge rest for the Boston Bruins,
and we saw all the other teams that had a lot.
They struggled.
They
big time. But I think this is one of the only teams in this entire playoffs that could have done something like this.
What do you think of this series, just as the 2 teams as the finals?
Boston, I'm not surprised. St. Louis, I'm shocked.
Like, do you have a rooting interest in this? I mean, like, do you have?
What do you mean, like
a rooting interest on either team, or are you just kind of watching it just? Because that's kind of where I am at it. Because I don't really care enough for either one of these teams.
I really don't.
Like if it was the Sharks, I'd probably be rooting for the Sharks.
Oh,
just because I like them.
No, I do like San Jose. I like a lot of their players, especially.
That's nothing against the Blues. I just don't really have any.
The only players I really like on St. Louis is Alexander Steen and Vladimir Tarasenko. Also, Colton Parayko. I love his game. I think he's an exceptional young player. Pietrangelo, great player. Tarasenko is always great. I would love to see Tarasenko get his hands on the cup.
Sure.
Not only that, but Pietrangelo be the first player in Blues history to touch the cup and actually lift it for the city of St. Louis.
But this is just one of those series where we're just like, meh, whoever wins.
It's,
it's one of those things where it's annoying that if Boston does win, it'll
be 3 championships.
But it's one of those things where
4 in 1 year.
I'll think about for 2 days, then forget about like, oh yeah, they did that.
Yeah, right. Again, like my biggest thing was with something like this. I always look for.
I think it is. Because whenever the people who don't pay attention to hockey pay attention to or look at the Stanley Cup Finals, like, is this good for the NHL? Does the NHL like the St. Louis and Boston?
Boston, they do. St. Louis, probably not so much.
I could say a little bit just because the Blues have been around for just as long as the Flyers have.
That's fair.
They've been here before. I mean, it's been a long time, but
yes. But for those wondering, this is how much St. Louis cares about their hockey. And if this doesn't prove it, then I don't know what does. For Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, St. Louis led all markets with a whopping 29.0 local rating. NBC Sports' highest NHL rating on record in the market. Boston second with 25.2.
Where's Buffalo on there?
Fourth, actually.
Shocking.
8.4%.
They're always high on there.
And then Providence, 18.8. And Indianapolis, 7.3.
Buffalo's one where they love their hockey.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, and, got to hand it to them. So,
But this is the one thing I do like about the Stanley hockey and Stanley Cup and everything. Even though the Penguins didn't win back-to-back years, and there's the
they're a great
Blackhawks and
series.
Kings, it's always kind of been different the past couple of years. The teams that are
yes, which
like
is nice.
it's the Blues and Bruins this year. Now,
Yeah.
would have thought that
Last year
maybe
was
the Bruins.
Vegas and the Capitals.
Yeah.
Like who would have imagined that expansion team, in their
team
first
right
year,
away. Yeah,
which is
the
awesome.
year before that it was the Preds and
Penguins,
and then
the year
it
before
was
that
Sharks
and Penguins. Yeah, but like although despite the fact that the Penguins, team, we're not the biggest fans of, but the fact that it was different teams we haven't seen in quite some time, instead of always the same. Oh, it's Blackhawks and Kings again.
Yeah.
Shocker. It was nice for a change, and that's why I'm thrilled for the Sharks and the Predators to get a taste of the
this
Stanley
playoff
Cup.
series in general. If you're a hockey fan, you're kind of excited about it, kind of not, just because.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I'm just saying because some of the teams you're expecting here that are fun to watch, like the Nashville's, the Tampa Bay,
San Jose
here.
Yeah,
right now.
but that's what makes the Stanley Cup Playoffs so exciting. Is it's unpredictable.
Yeah, kind of like Carolina.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Carolina, for example, they not only beat the Stanley Cup champs in 7 games in double overtime, they then swept the Islanders, who we didn't think would make it the second round or even the playoffs.
No one even expected them to make the playoffs.
Exactly. Not only that, but
or come this close to taking the Metro.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Sharks had a great series against Colorado.
They've had a great series all around.
They have.
They got lucky. They've luck a bunch of times they had for the Sharks.
Yeah.
And
then
mainly, but yeah.
St. Louis played Dallas in a unbelievable Game 7 series. Double overtime there. And it's been some of the best hockey we've seen in quite some time. And frankly, despite it not being teams we're used to seeing in St. Louis, Boston, we're kind of used to. But then again, because last time Boston went this far was 2013.
Yep.
They lost the cup that year in Chicago, or to Chicago in 6 games in Boston in Game 6 there. But still,
that one I literally had no rooting interest in.
That one,
it was Chicago, Boston.
Right, that one I
teams.
didn't. But the ironic thing is, back then when I was more so just a fan of the Flyers and everything, and nowadays it's for me. Obviously I'm still pro Philly, but I'm less biased than I was back then because my experience I've had and everything. But the good news is, but the thing is, back in 2013. And this is still the thing that I always look for in every playoff series. I just want a good playoff series.
Yeah.
And in that 2013 Stanley Cup Finals between Boston and Chicago.
That's why they changed the playoffs, because they wanted rivals to come out.
Right, but still.
Which is why even if you go back to the regular, how it was before, Boston, Tampa, Toronto would still play each other, but that's always a fun series.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong.
Even though 9 times out of 10 times, I'm still going to give it to Boston. There's still a chance.
Yes.
Toronto could take them.
For sure. But yeah, so the one thing, I still look for, like I did back then, I just want a good series. And that Boston-Chicago series.
San Jose and Vegas are always fun series.
Yes. No, I think that's going to be one of the next big rivalries.
Kind of like
I really think it is.
How San Jose and LA were.
Yeah.
Or LA, Anaheim.
Exactly. Yeah,
St.
for sure.
Louis, Chicago, if you want to put them in there.
You could definitely put them in there. But, I think...
Pittsburgh, Philly, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Even Pittsburgh, or Philly, Boston,
Sure.
But, and that's why, like in one of these series, or in this particular series, sure, I might have a preference for St. Louis over Boston, because one, they've never won the cup.
Yeah.
But two, I don't want to see Boston win 3 out of 4 championships in a year. But anything, if Boston wins, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
If honestly, although I would like St. Louis to win, I'm still picking Boston as the favorite. And it's just shows.
That's the way I am too.
Yeah, but all I'm looking for in this series, in any playoff series in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I just want a good series.
Same.
If a sweep happens, it happens. I just hate to see sweeps happen in the conference final and the Stanley Cup Finals, because it's not as fun.
That's like when you're looking at the NBA Finals, we're like, oh, who's going to
It's Golden State again. Literally, they're in the finals again.
Or it's like,
whoop-de-doo.
These series are always blowouts, or there's very few very close ones.
Exactly. Again, that's why...
even as bad as Tampa Bay played in that first round, it was still pretty...
It was
not
highly
really close,
entertaining.
but yeah, it was still entertaining.
Yeah. As long as it's close, it's a close series and entertaining. I wouldn't mind if it was a sweep, but I don't care if it's a sweep in the first 2 rounds. What matters to me the most is if a team gets swept in the conference finals or the Stanley Cup Finals. It's not as fun, because it's like, they're because it's over like that. I'm expecting, for Carolina's case, a perfect example. They got swept, but again, I think that's just Boston was obviously they're the better team, but I think Carolina was running out of gas at that point. Although the fact they did sweep the Islanders, it was a very tough 7-game series against Washington, and they won in double overtime in Washington in Game 7.
I think the momentum from Washington took them through that series, but the time off kind of wore off.
It wore off and everything. They're waiting.
But that's the one thing is if what St. Louis has to do now is don't get the Bruins hot. Yeah. Because then they're unbeatable.
They really are, especially that power play.
At least this playoffs, they seem that
right.
way.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely in this playoffs, though. And I think Don Sweeney, the GM for the Bruins, deserves a lot of credit. He got Charlie Coyle and Marcus Johansson at the deadline.
Because I was talking about this with Mitch last night. Who wants a Selke? Right now it's Stone, O'Reilly, and Bergeron. Those are the finalists. 2 of them are playing against each other right now.
Yeah. So let me but it
would be interesting to see Stone one because a winger to win.
Yes. All right. So again, for those who don't know, the Selke Trophy is
given to
best defensive forward in the NHL. It's like Mike said, Patrice Bergeron, Ryan O'Reilly, and Mark Stone. Patrice Bergeron is a finalist for the Selke Trophy for a record 8th consecutive year. That just goes to show how dominant he is.
And has been. O'Reilly's finally getting some because he's with St. Louis. He's getting some more recognition because in Buffalo he was still this good defensively, but Buffalo was never that good. So it never.
O'Reilly led the NHL with face-off wins with 1,086. Honestly, as much as I think Bergeron is going to win, I'm actually going to go with O'Reilly. And Mark Stone, he led the NHL with 122 takeaways. Bergeron was a plus 23 rating. Those are some of the bigger takeaways from each of them. Yeah. But
I think if the Flyers made it to the playoffs, Couturier would have been another finalist.
He is
because that was the feeling.
Deserving
that
recognition.
Was the feeling last year. Is if the Flyers made it to the playoffs again, that Couturier probably would have won it.
Yes.
Because even we'll get to it a little later, but for World Championships, Alain Vigneault put him with the top lines and everything.
Yeah.
But back to this, and I think we kind of talked all we can about the series going forward.
There is one other thing from that series, from at least game 1, with the Torrey Krug hit.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So, did you get a chance to look at that again?
Yep.
Because I have it all up on my screen in just in case you want to look at it. So, McAvoy throws the puck in the corner, and Robert Thomas goes to get the puck. He does lean forward a little bit, but not much. And then Krug, he does explode with the hit. So here it is kind of in slow motion.
But my thing is with it is slow motion. I know it's different, but slow motion, it looks a little not as bad as it does.
I agree with that. I will say this.
I don't think it's as...
It's not a brutal hit.
I don't think it's a suspendable.
It's not.
I think it's a charging penalty.
It's definitely a charging penalty, if anything. And the only thing I will say is, after at first glance, it looked like Krug left his feet. Right. But he only left his feet after he made contact. Right. So that's why it's not as bad. I still think it was obviously a very explosive hit and everything, but people are going ballistic over this hit and everything. At first, I was like, yeah, this is he left his feet and everything. That's easily charging. If anything, just looking at it again and again, it's just charging. I don't think, it's not nearly a suspendable hit. It's a clean hit. The only thing not clean about the hit is it was just charging. I kept thinking to myself that he did leave his feet, but looking at it again, slow motion and replay, he only left his feet after he makes contact. So that's, allowed, obviously.
Elliot Friedman tweeted about 3 minutes ago that Craig Berube says Thomas is fine.
Yeah.
And Dunn is a possibility.
I did see that, yes.
So he didn't get hurt.
No, which is good.
From the hit.
And Robert Thomas, he's a very young rookie who has done very well for the St. Louis team. What are your thoughts on the hit?
I think it was a clean hit.
Yeah.
Definitely a charge.
Yeah, it was easily a charge.
Because I don't.
Which they didn't even call that.
He didn't hit him in the head, so it's not a hit him in the head penalty.
He got him in the shoulder. It looked like.
The puck was still there. Yeah, it was still by him, so I wouldn't really consider it a rough or interference.
It's not necessarily interference because if you look, he did get a piece of it, like literally like a second or two right before he got hit.
The only thing I could see is a charge.
Yes.
And just a 2
and that's
minute.
it. Yeah. And that's the only thing I really saw too. At least right now, at first glance,
if you give that a major, not even like a major, and he's kicked out, like a major, and he's still playing, kind of thing. Yeah, that you'd still have some backlash because of it, because it wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
But that's another thing we could talk about too. Is again the officiating, not really the best.
No,
it was very ticky-tacky calls.
Exactly.
Even though they did take a lot of penalties, some of them were pretty ticky-tacky.
They were very ticky-tacky.
At least for a playoffs or Stanley Cup Final series, because then they let him play a little more.
Right.
But still, that at least it's throughout this playoffs, the officiating, as shown many times, has not been
They called Robert Thomas on a hook on this play right here. Mm-hmm. It's just not a hook.
I saw your text on it, and I was trying to find a Mr. Krabs gif of him saying, "The hooks! The hooks!"
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that wasn't a hook.
No, not even close. It is what it is, but just, I don't know.
But I don't know if you said it on the podcast or before we got on, but Gary Bettman said he was going to look at official or reviews or something like that.
Yes, so Gary Bettman, because on Twitter yesterday, let me see here. Twitterverse. Let's see here. John Shannon of Sportsnet said Gary Bettman says the NHL will explore expanding video review. Requires GM's approval, competition committee approval, and board approval. So now my question is, how much expanding a video review are they going to do? Are they putting more cameras in? Are they just going to take more looks? Or what are they going to do?
Or is that more talking about the hand pass thing, and that would now be a reviewable thing?
I think that easily should be a reviewable call because it's a huge call. But then again, I don't get how, because that what led to overtime goal, correct?
Yeah,
I think so. I think something they should really consider.
Carlson's game winner, but they took that and never looked back after that for the St. Louis Blues.
My thing is I think that kind of like how the NFL for overtime,
they do kind of, because they were saying last night, every goal gets reviewed.
Right.
At least in the finals, it seems like.
At least, But my thing is that I think regardless of the situation, every overtime goal should be looked at, even if it's so obvious. Just look at it. Just make sure there's nothing funky.
Even the goal last night, when it went off his skate, they looked at it for a second, but it was fairly clearly not a kicking. That clearly wasn't a kicking motion, but they still looked at it.
Just to reassure themselves. They looked at it for literally 5-10 seconds, and they thought, oh, okay, went off his shin pad, and that's a good goal. And that's fine.
And that wasn't the Bruins saying we're challenging it or anything. That was the officials.
That was the officials. Yeah, and that was a perfect situation. I think the NHL needs to do more of that. Yeah. What's your whole take on where they could at least go on expanding for the video review?
Can we at least see the videos from offsides?
Yeah. And
instead of it just being shown to the people in Toronto.
Yeah. Not only that, but I like the ice level view of the offsides. That doesn't help though.
No.
If anything, they should get like an overhead view camera that way you can really tell. Because half the time for the ice level offsides goal and everything, it's covered by somebody.
Goals wise, they have, I think, camera wise are fine there.
Yeah, but
there's never been a problem where they're like, "Oh, that's a goal." No, it's not.
Right.
One of those things.
It's if anything, it's just been very close.
Yeah. The one thing I will say from last year, is that it seemed like there was a lot less goalie interference. Kind of.
Yeah. There's still some crazy calls.
Yeah, but less so than the year prior. Because that's another one I would say they might want to still look at is goalie interference of what would be considered goalie interference and what's not. But one last thing, kind of, not really Stanley Cup wise, but kind of. But Braden Shen did have 3 points.
Yes.
And of course, that will bring us back to Flyers fans and Blues or whatever.
Yes.
And the trade they made 2 years ago.
Right, a couple years ago, yeah. So I have my thoughts and opinion. I even went on Twitter last night and kind of talked about that. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this whole thing first. So again, just to review the trade, it was Braden Shen for Yuri Laterra and 2 first-round picks, which turned out to be Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. What was your initial reaction to when they made the trade? And, of course, this is before the Flyers picked both of those players, when it was just announced as Shen for Laterra and 2 first-round picks. What was your initial reaction?
I was fine with the trade,
right?
Actually,
and then knowing what you know now,
and I was fine with it because
I
was probably one of the few that were saying I think we should probably trade. But I was one of the few that were saying that we should trade Shen,
right?
Just because, similar to this year with Simmons, that
it's just a business move.
It is, but for me, I felt Shen was one of those guys where he was putting up points.
But not enough as he probably should.
No, not that. They just didn't come at good times. It always seems like he would always score garbage time, either when we were
and they were garbage goals,
or when we were losing.
And not only that, but they were garbage goals too.
Yeah, similar to Simmons, most of the production, almost all of it, came on the power play.
Not even strength.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. All right, so
he was one of the weird ones because I think we traded for him to be a center.
Yeah.
But he was a winger for the most part.
Yeah, which...
And now he's back to being center. Sometimes wing in St. Louis. So...
Yes.
That was the one thing with him. But I just thought maybe trade him just because you could get something out of him.
And they got quite a bit out of him.
Yeah, they did.
So, knowing what you know now for Braden... So, he put up... in his first
year, he did...
In the first year in St. Louis, 70 points in 82 games. This season, only 54, but in 10 less games, I'm assuming due to injury. But still, he put up 54 points. While his best years his 2 best years in Philly, 59 points and 55 points in his final season.
You said the other one was Joel Farabee, right?
Yes, Joel Farabee. So knowing what you know now, though, how do you feel about this trade moving forward with the players that we got? Because the players that the Flyers got, again, was Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee. And they are, I'll put it this way.
Joel Farabee still, I think, has a little ways to go.
I think so, too.
But Morgan
listen
to these stats. 2018-19, this past season, 109 points. In 58 games, 37 goals, 72 assists.
Year before.
112.
Yeah.
In 67 games, 42 goals, 70 assists. But also, I remember he was suspended for a good portion of this past season. So if he wasn't, he probably would have beaten the 112.
Easily.
Yeah.
He
also put up 8 points for Canada U20.
Yes.
In 5 games.
Yeah.
4
now,
goals, 4 assists.
remember, if I'm not mistaken...
But the one thing on him is he's small.
Yes. He needs to bulk up. And to be fair, he has done that. Since he got drafted, apparently he put on 10 extra pounds.
Unfortunately, for the Flyers' sake, it's still going to be on the Phantoms next year. Cause
Farabee, they did announce that they signed him, correct? Yeah, so he's already going to be on the Phantoms.
This past season, I don't know if he was.
He had a rough season. I remember.
He did. I don't know if he was hurt.
It was either. I think it was O'Brien that was hurt a lot, but
he only played 37 games. So
okay, maybe it was.
He had 36 points, a little less than a point per game, but
still,
17
that's
goals,
not bad.
19 assists.
That's still not bad
for U.S. U20. He had 5 points in 7 games, so 3 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah.
And the U.S. national team U18, he put up 76 points.
Yeah.
In 62 games, 33 goals, 43 assists.
I'm still excited about Farabee.
Sure.
He does have a few years to come. He's still very young.
He's 19.
Yeah, and before anyone else gets confused,
Frost is 20.
Yes. So
he'll be eligible to be on the Phantoms.
They both are actually.
Yeah. No, true.
So and the reason for that is typically with junior players such as Morgan Frost, from the age of 18 and 19. You will be in juniors, if not the NHL. And then once you hit 20, you either are in the NHL or AHL.
Yeah.
But for NCAA players like Joel Farabee, once you sign that contract, you have the right to go to the AHL. You don't have to be 20.
Did he say if he wanted to go? I think he might have said he was going back to college, right?
I don't think he is.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember him saying he's going back to college. Again, I could be wrong, but the Flyers did sign him to a contract, so I am pretty sure that he is going to play for the Phantoms next season.
Even if Farabee doesn't pan out to be anything,
right,
and it's just Morgan Frost,
I'm still fine with that.
I'm still fine with it.
Yeah,
even if it's one of those things where he doesn't end up being a center, but he's still a winger.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
If he can, I doubt he's definitely not going to be putting up those points.
Yeah.
But he's got the skills to put up a good amount of points and be a good player for the Flyers. So
right. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I go into my thoughts? About the Shen trade.
Good for Shen. He got into this point.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
I respect that.
Maybe it's the Flyers thing where, like, good for you if you won the cup.
Yeah.
Less so than I would say for, like, a Simmons, where it'd be a little more, or Timonen when he won, or
even
absolutely. Streit.
Yeah.
Less so Streit. Sorry. I liked Shen over Streit. Just, that was me. But you know what I was saying.
Yeah, and I hear you. So,
and now for you.
Yes. So last night, a buddy of mine who I follow on Twitter, Dan Silver, he tweeted out, "It's a rational way of looking at it. Individually, the Flyers won the Carter, Richards, and Shen trades, but it's still frustrating that all 3 guys will have won or competed for the cup within 2 seasons of those respective trades, while the Flyers haven't gotten a sniff." Now, he does have a great point. I'm not going to break down the Carter and Richards trades.
We already know what
we already know
them.
Yeah. So, but for the Braden Shen trade, the biggest takeaways for me was the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Obviously not Laterra. It was a salary cap move for St. Louis. That's the only reason why they got rid of Yuri Laterra.
The Flyers had to take a player back.
Yes, they had to. Now, when I first heard this, I thought, okay, I'm content with this because
you're content with it, but you're like,
no, I was pretty good with the trade overall with including Laterra, because at the time when Laterra was with St. Louis, now granted he was playing with Vladimir Tarasenko, but still the numbers he put up while on the line with Tarasenko, they were solid.
Right.
So that's why I was actually pretty happy at first glance. Thought, wow, we got Laterra. Okay, I'm content with this. This is good. And then we got the first 2 round picks as well. Now they ended up drafting Morgan Frost, and right away, everyone just thought, wow, this is a home run.
Yeah.
But then they draft Joel Farabee and thought, this is even better.
Yep.
They're 2 exceptional young prospects for Philadelphia. I expect great things from both of them. More so Frost than Farabee, but I still expect good things from Farabee. It really depends on what this offseason will look like for the Flyers and Chuck Fletcher and what he does. Because for all we know, Morgan Frost could be up with the Flyers next year. I don't know if it'll happen.
Uh,
He'll probably it depends on how he looks in training camp and, just during preseason. He'll get a much better look. Now, would I be surprised if he is in the AHL? No, because he needs to bulk up for sure.
and the Flyers kind of center-wise is probably not the best to have to. You already know who the fourth line center is going to be, and that's
yes, yes, but I really think that it's going to be a great, overall. It'll be great for Farabee and for us just to be in this organization.
Yeah.
And Flyers fans will, soon, at some point within the next 5-10 years, get to know their names very well.
And
so overall,
and this trade wasn't, or going back to kind of the Richards trades, they kind of came in right away.
Yes.
Couturier was the first year to come in.
Yeah. Voracek,
and then
the
Voracek,
Simmons.
and Simmons.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, with the Richards trade, Shem was the big piece in that trade, not Wayne Simmons. Simmons was just a tossing, and turns out he was the biggest piece of all in that trade.
But this one's just different because it's these guys are taking. You got 2 first rounders, so obviously it's going to take a little more time for them to come up. But.
Exactly. But yeah, so I'm content. If anything, what would you grade the Shen trade? Probably give it like a B plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say B plus.
So yeah,
the only reason a B plus just because you didn't really get anything out of Latera.
Yeah, and his contract's up.
Yeah.
And he's not coming back.
So now it doesn't
especially
matter.
After all the rumors and well, not even rumors really anymore. Just all
speaking of rumors, did you hear, Jeffrey?
Oh boy, I like rumors.
About
is it involving 2 teams, including one? Oh,
it is not.
Okay,
it is revolving around a Capitals player.
Okay, this is new to me. I have not heard this rumor.
You didn't hear about the Kuznetsov thing?
No.
So apparently in Vegas last year or whatever, he was around cocaine.
Oh. Fun.
Even though he said didn't touch it, and once he found out it was cocaine, he left or whatever. But there's a picture of him sitting in front of a cocaine.
Oh my! Yikes! This is news to me.
Yeah, it's really shocking.
Wow.
Yep, you found it.
No. I found the news, but apparently there's a video for it too, and everything. And oh well, there's the video.
Yeah.
But regardless, though, it's yikes.
He was in Vegas last year for
the
finals, but yeah,
that's not a good look.
No.
I mean, just looking at it now, though, how can you not tell that it's that?
Right.
Did you see the video? Yeah. How can you not tell?
I don't know. Obviously, he's just trying to deny it, so nothing happens to him. But somehow that video got leaked somehow. So
yeah. But the other thing is, because there is
the reason why I thought about it is because we mentioned Yori, and he had his little ring going on.
Yes.
Oh, and also since we've last talked, there was a re-signing for a Islander player.
Which is who?
Brock Nelson.
Yes, that's right. Oh my
Which kind of set the tone for the second line center.
That did. So completely forgot about that. So 6-year deal. Not like that.
First.
But look at what Sean Couturier is making. And he still has a couple years left on that deal.
Yep.
So right now, Ron Hextall is a genius and a half for that extension.
Mm-hmm. He's also getting paid too much for
Nelson?
Brock Nelson, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have given him $6 million for that much. No. But that just shows that's probably how much Kevin Hayes would get.
Yeah. I would give that type of money to Kevin Hayes, not Brock Nelson. I would give $3 million to Brock Nelson.
Yeah.
Not 6.
But the only reason why they gave it to Brock Nelson this past year is because he had close to a career year this year.
He had a very
year.
good year, yeah.
But it was like the first time in a while for him.
No, I agree. But I think that...
But what I'm seeing or whatever is that I've heard both Chicago and Philadelphia could possibly are looking at Kevin Hayes.
I could see Hayes coming to Philly because of the AV connection.
Yeah.
Chicago...
I don't know how, but that's the only thing with him is that I don't know how I'd feel about him being the second line center. He's more of a third line center, I'd feel.
Right.
Yeah. And I think for the Flyers' sake, they want a second line center.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with Kevin Hayes, because I think defensively he could do pretty well, or even to Duchesne. But that's for another podcast.
Yes.
But
there's also Corbin Knight. He's not returning to the Flyers. He signed a 1-year deal Tuesday
he's going to
with a KHL team. So he's no longer in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
So apparently, remember Evgeny Medvedev?
Yes.
He's the captain of a KHL team. Yes, sir, he is.
Oh, my gosh.
I forget which team it is, but I know.
That's pretty funny.
But I think it might have been the team that Datsuk was traded to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, we kind of teased this at the beginning, but the Oilers.
Yes. They are the ones with the new coach.
Yep.
And this one surprised me a little bit, only because this particular person was looking to have a part in the Seattle franchise.
Dave Tippett.
Yes. 3-year contract for Mr. Tippett. It's official. Has been announced. Good for him. At least he's going to be a NHL head coach again, and
for 3 years. It's a 3-year deal. Depending on how well the Oilers do.
Yes.
Never know.
Also,
this happened a couple days ago,
but it was just announced earlier today, I believe.
But this was a different thing that was announced earlier in the week, but since we've last podcasted, Guy Boucher is not going to be coaching the Senators.
Yes.
It is DJ Smith.
Patrick Waugh isn't.
Sorry.
Yes.
Patrick Waugh.
Yes,
Patrick
Guy
Waugh.
Boucher did
Guy Boucher
have a shot earlier.
Patrick Waugh is not going to be coaching the Senators. Probably smart for him not to.
Yes. Good idea.
But yes, he is not coaching.
Yes.
DJ Smith will be.
And then in AHL news, actually, this is because the only reason I'm announcing this one is because it's a bit of a bigger deal for an AHL head coach, and also because he was rumored to possibly be attracted to NHL teams. Sheldon Keefe has signed a 2-year extension with the Toronto Marlies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next. If the Maple Leafs were to get rid of Babcock, he's probably going to be the coach of the Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
But going out of the NHL a little bit, still with NHL players though. The World Cup of Hockey, ended over the weekend.
World Championships.
World Championships.
Yes,
keep doing that.
Yeah.
This is just the final 2 games were kind of maybe not Finland, but there was some surprise there.
Yeah. The third place game, Russia against Czech Republic. Russia wins that in a shootout 3-2.
Yep.
And then the gold medal game, which, I guess we'll call that gold medal game.
It was Russia versus Norway.
Norway. Why did I say
I don't know. It was Norway though.
It says on my computer. It says.
Oh, it does. Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm looking at a different game. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, sir,
I'm looking at.
you gotta go to 26th.
Yeah, I do. I'm looking at the wrong date, sir. Yeah, sorry, you're right.
And
Czech
then in
Republic.
the other game, championship game.
That was in a shootout. Russia won.
Yes, that was true. And then
And-
championship game, it was Finland against Canada, and
Finland taking the gold.
Finland.
Yes, and Kako.
Yes. Yeah, I was a little surprised by this.
A little, but not surprising
Not
for
too
me.
surprised.
Because as good as because Canada's always going to be a favorite because they're going to be the team that has the most NHL players and
course.
everything. It wasn't the best. Even the American teams wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Really, there. They had great players, but Murray didn't play the best either. But they got to the gold medal game.
Yes.
But this, if anything, for people who, I guess, Canada and around the world kind of got a glimpse of Cabo Kako and what he can do for Finland and what he can bring to
either the New Jersey Devils or the New York Rangers.
He saw a little bit of Jack Hughes too, but he got scratched. He eventually got scratched for the USA team.
Yes, which is kind of surprising.
Kind of. But, yeah.
Doesn't bother me that much because
No.
I especially because considering how big some of these hits have been,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want for someone like Hughes' size, I'm like, all right, like I wouldn't mind if he played. At the same time, I'm okay that he didn't play because I wouldn't want him to get hurt, you know, especially going into the draft year. Kako, he's a big enough player where he can protect himself up against the boards, and you saw his size and
we saw when there was the when USA and Finland played, they went up against each other.
Yeah. Turned up
and
pretty dandy.
No matter what team they play on, they're going to be playing against each other a lot. Either if it's with the Rangers or the Devils. Or I doubt it, but Chicago possibly.
Yeah. You're right.
Because why would either one of them not take one of them?
Yes. It'd be pretty dumb not to do that.
Yes.
Really, the only other thing for hockey-wise...
actually, I do want to see one thing.
Go for it.
Who was the points leader at the end of this? Voracek was tied for points still.
Oh, for the World
tied for third for World Championship.
Nice.
With Nikita. Gustav Nikita from Russia. With 16 points. They both have 4 goals and 12 assists.
Wow.
William Nylander had the most, 18 points, 5 goals, 13 assists. Then it was Nikita Kucherov, second. 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points. There was a 3-way tie for second, but Kucherov had 6 goals, so I think that's kind of why they're giving it to him.
Right.
But still, Voracek even went out with the Flyers is doing well.
Yep, that is true.
But, I think...
Talk about really quickly, last thing really on the agenda for hockey is the 2022 Winter Olympics. The qualification teams.
Right.
Already announced is Canada, Russia, Finland, Sweden, Czech Republic, United States, Germany, and Switzerland are the qualified.
And there'll be
teams.
a tournament to announce, I think, the last team to qualify.
Yes.
But surprisingly, Slovakia is not.
Right.
But it's probably going to be them.
Yes, most likely. 'Cause, how many teams are going to be in this thing? Because I never know.
Sure.
Yeah. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens if it's just regular players or just NHL players as well. We'll see. I doubt NHL players will appear in this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they could.
They could.
Or at least, like, junior type players.
Yeah.
Could.
Oh, Jack Hughes. Let's go.
Jack Hughes.
Well, then again, maybe not. Actually, no, he wouldn't be in this because he'll be in the NHL. So never mind.
In 2022, the same format. Okay, there's going to be 12 teams. Because I think you have 4 or 12, 3 groups, 2 and 4. Okay. So the top 8 countries, the countries you listed were the top 8.
Yes.
And those are the ones that qualify, including the host country, which will be China.
Mm.
And this qualification thing will be to determine the rest.
Yes.
Oh.
Huh.
There was 46 countries that applied to enter the men's team for the Olympics.
Wow.
And are for the Olympics are eligible to participate in the qualification process, meaning 37 countries will battle it out for the 3 remaining spots for the 2022 Olympic men's ice hockey tournament. Okay, here it is. The Olympic qualifications will be held in 4 stages starting on November 2019 with tournaments in Luxembourg and Hong Kong. Tournament winner of each group will advance to the next round until the final Olympic qualifications as the 4th and final stage, which will be held the 27th to the 30th August 2020, keeping to the possibility open for NHL players to join their countries.
Alrighty.
Oh, they already have okay. Do you want to hear the groups?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
The final Olympic qualification will take place in countries ranked 9th to 11th in the world who opted to make the use of their home ice advantage. Slovakia will host Group D at a venue in Austria. Latvia will host Group E with France and Italy, and the second best seeded qualifier. Okay. And Group F with Norway, Denmark, and Korea. And the qualifier will take place in a Norwegian city to be named.
Okay.
The third round will be hosted next February in Slovenia, Kazakhstan, and Great Britain.
Wow. That's such a long way away, though.
It does. But it starts essentially in November.
Interesting.
Okay. I got some of the teams in there. That's awesome. So Group D, there's Slovakia, Belarus, Austria. Group E, Latvia, France, Italy.
Mm.
Group F, Norway, Denmark, Korea. Group G, Slovenia, Japan, Lithuania. Group H, Kazakhstan, Poland, Ukraine. Group J, Great Britain, Hungary, Estonia. Group K, Romania, Iceland, Israel. Group L, Netherlands, Spain, Mexico. Who knew Mexico had an ice hockey team? Group M, Croatia, Serbia, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Croatia. And the pre-qualification rounds that start November 7th to 10th. Group N, Luxembourg, United Arab Emirates, Bosnia, Herzegovina, I don't know how to say that, Kyrgyzstan, and Luxembourg, and Group O, Chinese Taipei, Hong Kong, Kuwait, Thailand, and Hong Kong.
Damn.
But the pre-qualification rounds start November 7th to the 10th, and then of 2019, and then the second round is December 12th to the 15th of 2019. So that's kind of, if you're interested in the Olympics, hockey-wise and everything, which actually makes sense because some of it they're waiting until that whole thing gets situated with the NHL and the Olympics. But do you think NHL players should be able to be in the Olympics?
I think they should. Now,
Like, it sucks that it takes place during the season. But
it does, because look at like the 2010 playoffs and everything. Like, a lot of the top stars were just gassed.
Yeah.
Like, I think, no, granted, Richards did still play very well for the Flyers. And Pronger did pretty good.
That
but
didn't stop Kane at all.
Yeah. You know what? We're stop bringing him up. So, I think that, I'm kind of, stuck on this. I think I would prefer to have NHL players.
Because there's been times where even Ovechkin for the last Winter Olympics where he said, I don't care if I'd be suspended. I want to represent my country.
Yeah.
Because that's what some of this thing is to some of these players.
Oh, absolutely. It's
the
a
only
big
chance
deal.
they have is the World Championships, but that for some doesn't really matter once you already won it.
Yeah.
The Olympics is kind of a bigger deal to some of these people. Like, they want to be a part of their home country and everything. And obviously the NHL is, I think, would be very interested because it's China. So if I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take a guess here, and that NHL players will be in the next Olympics.
I would hope so.
It just makes it a little more fun. Because if it's not, then it's just Russia over and over again.
Yeah.
Because then they'll just bring the KHL players over.
Yep.
Like they did last year.
Yes, they did.
Or last time. But I think NHL-wise, hockey-wise, that's pretty much it.
And then the only other thing is Game 2 is Wednesday
night.
Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. At TD Garden, of course, in Boston. The Bruins look to take a 2-0 series lead. Well,
Game
not the
2
Bruins.
starts
The Blues
30 sharp.
Yes. Well, the Blues look to tie the series up.
Yes. But until our next podcast, we'll see ya.